Ultimately, obedience to God is sacrifice. Truth lowers our minds, while happiness lowers our will. In obedience to God, we sacrifice our will, and do God's will. God, who by giving us His Son gave us His all, invites us to a selfless life, by offering all that we have and are to Him. When He receives us in the exalted hands of His Son, our little become plenty, for others to benefit. Last week, the readings led us to consider the shepherd leadership style. In this leadership style, where Jesus Christ is the perfect example, we realize that a leader with such a style relies mostly on God, in the sense that, as theocratic as this leadership style is, the leader goes to God for ideas, and implement the ideas through sacrifices. The said leader, after completing his work, goes to rest, but since God, after finishing His work at creation, rested, the shepherd leader going to rest implies that he goes to God for more strength and ideas, and after he has been rejuvenated, goes out to continue his work. This makes it cyclical, because the leader goes to God, is sent out to people to work, and after that goes back to God again. Today's readings also stresses on one quality in a shepherd leader that must be found in all Christians, namely selflessness. As we consider the theme Unbroken Bread, which speaks about the unity that must exist between all Christians, let us look at how selflessness contributes to this unity. In the first reading, a man from Baal-Shalisha brought 20 barley loaves and fresh grains, which Elisha told his servant to give to 100 men, who ate and have some left over. In the second reading, Paul stresses on unity in Christianity by pointing out emphatically that there is one body, one Spirit, one hope, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God. In all, the ones are 7 in number, stressing on unity. Finally, in the Gospel, we find the fourth sign in the Gospel of John, namely the multiplication of bread, and since there are 7 signs in the Johannine Gospel, the multiplication of bread is therefore a central sign. Various facts in the Gospel of John point to unity or love, which shows that the source of all the actions of Jesus was love. And we know that God is love. In fact, Jesus, by saying that, but whatever comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and it is this that makes someone unclean. For from the heart come evil intentions, murder, adultery, fornication, theft, perjury, slander. Confirm Matthew 15:18-19, shows that all actions flows from the heart. The heart is the organ used to represent love, hence what you love shows who you are, just as God, who is love itself, is understood by love. It is our will, which motivates us to act. What truth is to the mind, happiness is to the heart. Because we seek happiness, our will is always in search of things that will make us happy. The problem, however, is that all that we think can make us happy are means to an end, and not end in themselves. Speak of power, money, pleasure and the like. It is only God who, being all in all, who is self-sufficient, and hence all things depend on Him. Since God is love, love which is eternal is an end in itself. This is the life God has called us to. To love, to be selfless and share all that we have and are with others. We can do this by putting ourselves into Christ's hand in baptism, where we are united unto His body, and incorporated into His prophetic, priestly and kingly office. Just as the boy gave all that he had to Jesus Christ, and it was multiplied for a multitude of people, we are also called to give our life to God, hope in Him, believe in Him, accept Him as our Master, and live according to His will. Thus, all our actions must stem from genuine love. Love is the giving of self to another, and this implies sacrifice. The Gospel highlights this beautifully, but probing further, a deeper insight comes to bear. Comparing the Johannine Gospel to the Synoptic tradition, we see that whilst in the Synoptic tradition Jesus breaks the bread before distributing it, in the Johannine, that action is omitted, stressing the important theme of unity in the Johannine Gospel, where Jesus wishes that there may be one flock and one shepherd. 10:16. prays for unity of his disciples, 17:20-23, and his death will bring all children of God together, 11:52. It is therefore clear that as Jesus did not break the bread, he presents himself as the unbroken Messiah, and this in turn stands for unbroken and unified humanity. Jesus is the Messiah who has come down to bring unity among the nations, and his purpose can be achieved in his church, the bride, who is flesh of his flesh and bone of his bone, if only the members of his body will be selfless and do